Front-End Authority is an online community that promotes the ongoing education of front-end technology.
Okay, very quickly. All right, got a lot of ground to cover in 5 minutes. Okay, I'm going to show you how to deploy an SPA as a static website, and then I'm going to expand on that and show you how to render static content on the server. Oh, Christ, I'm already in trouble. How do I get to the next slide? Spacebar? Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm going to publish it on Surge. Surge is, what's really cool about Surge is it's so super simple. You can publish your build with one line of code. Oh.
Spacebar. Or mouse. It's not touchscreen.
There we go. And here's their website, surge.sh. So you do an npm install. They're showing you how to do a global install, but I think I installed it locally in the project. And then from your package.json, you can run a script to deploy it.
Track that.
Oh, come on now. There we go. All right, webpack config.js. Okay, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit here. On Surge, they require you to have a default page called 200.html in addition to your index.html. There doesn't have to actually be anything in that page, but you got to have it. So in my webpack.config.js file, I've got this HTML function here, and all that does is it generates a 200.html file that's minified HTML with nothing in it. For this to work, you have to have this HJS Webpack. That's Henrik Juratag Webpack. He has this thing. You can install it off of GitHub. And basically, it's what it is he configures Webpack for you so you don't have to do it. So anyway, you have to have that installed, require it, and then this HTML function you see right here will work. This HTML function is super powerful. In a couple minutes, I'm going to show you what you can do with that. Okay, package.json file. I got a deploy script. You go surge-p public. Okay, so it's important to specify which folder you want to publish, because if you don't specify a folder, it's going to publish everything. So make sure you specify your public folder where you did your build, and then you give it a unique name for your app. In this case, it's label editor.surge.sh. If you don't give it a unique name, if the app already exists, it's not going to work. So make sure you use a unique name. Okay. And then you go to your shell, you run npm run deploy, boom, it's deployed. It's going to prompt you for your username and your password. If you don't have one, if you haven't even made a Surge account yet, it's going to prompt you right there. You make one right on the fly, and there we go. There's the app. It's live. It's label.editor.surge.sh. Okay. All right. Where are we? Okay. So I think you've all heard about isomorphic or universal JavaScript. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's talking about JavaScript that can run on the server as well as the client. Rendering on the server is probably easier than you think it is. So what if we have some static content like an index page or a layout or something that never changes? What's the point of rendering that in the browser when the browser could be doing something else? Why not render that on the server and then let the browser do what it's really good at, which is downloading HTML, CSS, and rendering it? So how do we do that? Back to our webpack.config file. Okay, so up here I'm requiring my 2 pages that I want to render on the server. At the very top, I have to require Babel register because there's some React render functions in there that have JSX, and it's going to cough up on that, right? This is running Node.js on the server. Node.js is going to see the JSX. It's not going to like it. So by requiring Babel register, it's going to pipe it through there. It's going to transpile it into JavaScript, and it's going to be happy. Okay, and then down here in my HTML function, I'm going to create these two, okay, this is ES6. I'm going to create these two variables, and then I'm going to use the render to string method from React, which runs on the server, and I'm going to stream HTML into those variables. And then down here in my return object, all I do is plug those into my template, just like that. Super easy. Okay, that's it. So I guess my last point, where are we? There, okay, this page right here, this is being rendered on the server. This one that you see right here. So.
Oh, thank you. All right, up next, Brandon. We're going to do questions at the end with everybody. All right, up next we have Brandon Wong on Tachyons.
All right. Tachyons, basically particles that are faster than light, and like tachyons, this speech is also going to be faster than light. All right. Tachyons is basically a CSS framework. It's fast. It leaves a small footprint. It's very modular. And it also runs as a post-CSS plugin, and also it can be easily installed via NPM. The specifics about it is it actually uses rem as its units for measurement. So basically, you don't have pixels or regular ems. It uses rems, which is root m. So it basically targets the HTML elements. So one m is essentially going to be, or one rem is going to be 16 pixels and 32. It also runs with a mobile first approach, and there is no col xs-5, which essentially you know from Bootstrap if you've ever seen it, for the grid at least. And it also has a very cool naming convention, which makes it very quick and easy for fast prototyping. And here's my cat tax for this evening, if you can see it. Essentially, what this is a little project that I did, which was implementing a Tachyon little blog into a WordPress template. And yeah, and this is, you can also see if it's shown, which is the structure of the class tags that basically style the this entire element. So I'm just going to go into one, which is really quick and simple, which is the article, which essentially is the container that holds the cat and the daily news and 10 things every cat owner should know. So, yeah. So here is basically that one HTML element with the class BG white, which is white, center, which we see as autoing left and right. MW6, which is a little bit odd, but it's basically what's it called, max width. And BA, border, all, I believe, and it basically gives it style, and 1px, or 1 pixel. And there's also going to be black and also, what's it called, margin width. There's a cool thing about it as well is you can also, it's so modular that you can basically have things such as display in block on the, which is called DIB. There's also was it margin right, which is MR, and then the number afterwards. And there's also like margin top, margin bottom, margin or padding right, padding left, padding top, padding bottom. All those basically labeled out in what's it called, class tags. So you basically can not touch CSS and just style something completely from, and position it completely from style tags, but you will have to touch media queries if you want to make it responsive. So it is meant for a mobile first approach, meaning that you're supposed to basically style what you want, get a fast working prototype on the mobile side, and then create CSS or media queries that basically will target users all the way up. So it's so like I said, it's fast, and you can get something up and running and positioned and styled correctly for the mobile or desktop, depending on how you do it. So, and I'm good on time. And you can check it out at tachyon.io. Thank you. And I'm Raul. And hopefully that was fast.
Up next is Nelson.
I might go over with time, but we'll see. And I just closed it. Look at that. Let's try it again. Okay, cool. Hi. User experience. We all deal with user experience every day, but how do you guys, as developers, do you guys have to deal with user experience? Anyone? Raise your hand. As developers, all of you deal with user experience. And when you think of user experience, what do you think more of? Is it more of a developer side or more a design side? Or is it both? All right, cool. So we're on the same page. And so this is not working. It says retrying in 9 seconds. Hold on. I got it. Boom. Nope. There. Okay. So high level, this is user experience. Okay? Packaging is user experience. Trying to open up these things with that thing that actually opens those things. That doesn't make sense. User experience is opening up a iPhone box in front of the news and then it drops on you like that. User experience is the Horton Plaza that you get confused about, how do I get to GameStop or something. And lastly, user experience is this. Instead of pulling, you're supposed to, you think of pushing because of some different way. Yeah, and what is corporate UX? Corporate UX is put all the things everywhere. You've seen intranets, you've seen all this stuff, kind of the things. And this is what I think about when it comes to corporate UX. Now this is the new Chevy Volt. It's a completely electric car and they're competing with Tesla. But to me, I think this is a piece of crap because just like any corporation, they like to put everything everywhere. Put all the things with different design styles and have both physical and virtual buttons, and it doesn't make sense. And also they have the clock twice. What the heck? Put everything everywhere. Oh my God, this card's not even out yet. Okay, intranets. And so when I think about UX, I think about it from a very high level that everyone has to deal with it. Us as workers in the field have, if the UX isn't good from within, the UX that gets spit out to the consumers is always going to be bad. And just like a kitchen, this is how I feel about it. So I've been looking at kitchens, after watching Kitchen Nightmares and binging on it Netflix, I've been noticing that kitchens are the best representation of a great UX. And there's 4 main pieces to a great UX in a restaurant. You need fresh ingredients. This is equivalent to great copy, imagery, and videos that go into, say, a website or a web app. You need a clean kitchen. This is equivalent to a clean file structure, clean code, easy to use intranets. You need to make sure that everything is easily found. A file is easily found and so forth. You don't want to be fumbling. Where's the spatula? Where's the pan or whatever? A beautiful dining area. So the actual UX, when you walk into a dining room or you're doing that first time user experience when you install a new app, has to be beautiful. Or else people think, oh, this is weird, I don't understand it. And lastly, you need a fast wait staff. So this is equivalent of optimizing your code to make it as fast as possible. Because I know that if I'm waiting too long for my food, I'm already mad. That place is getting a 1 star on Yelp or lower, okay? And so, in my opinion, UX is important to everyone on the team and it should be thought of by everyone from the top down. So find ways to help your team improve your content when you're getting those fresh ingredients. Make sure to streamline your processes to make sure everyone is on the same page and you're pumping out great work fast. And find awesome tools or frameworks and whatnot to make things go faster. And lastly, make sure that no one's waiting for your website, web app, or mobile app to load. And help your team work like a kitchen, make the web beautiful. Thank you.
Next, we got Wei.
Just want to make sure I can, okay. Hey everybody, my name is Wei. I'm going to be giving a brief intro to TypeScript. So a little bit about me, I'm currently a software developer at Veo. I use TypeScript every day. I do a little bit of C#.NET. I also code in Python, Ruby, and C++. I'll be making references to object-oriented programming principles, so if anyone's got any questions, just stop me. So let's start off with what exactly TypeScript is. So TypeScript is basically a strongly typed superset of JavaScript. Strongly typed meaning that as the programmer, you have the option to strictly define what type your data type your variables will be. And because it is a superset of JavaScript, valid JavaScript is considered to be valid TypeScript. It also follows the ES6 syntax, which I'll show you in a bit later. And the TypeScript compiler will then compile your TypeScript code into ES3 JavaScript, which is what most of us recognize as regular JavaScript. Again, highly object-oriented. It looks a lot like, it's almost as if C# and Java had a baby and put it on the web. That's what TypeScript looks like. It's developed by Microsoft and maintained by the open source community. So the way you would use TypeScript is you would have your TypeScript file, you pass it into a TypeScript compiler or precompiler, which would then output JavaScript. And you can use this with various build systems like Gulp, Grunt, and Webpack. This is also similar to, for those of you who've used CoffeeScript before, very similar. So one of the things I'll be talking about will be classes and exports, simply because that's what I believe is one of the advantages that TypeScript offers that JavaScript doesn't. So I create a person object. I know you shouldn't objectify people, but here you go. So apparently all there is to a person is their name and their age. Now, as you can see, I can define the attributes of an individual person based on their data types. So a name will always have to be a string. An age will always have to be a number. And there is also this constructor method, which will be called to construct a human being. And lastly, there's a greeting method, which then prints out its attributes. And at the very bottom, there's this export person statement. What this does is this will then publicly export this object and its methods so that you can use it in other pieces of code within your code base. So here's an example. Demo.ts will then import person from the person TS file. I created some guy. Let's call him Bob. He's 23, like me. My name's not Bob. And if you call some guy.greeting, this is the output. Hi, my name is Bob. I'm 23. You'll have to trust me on this one. So some applications of TypeScript include, so obviously Angular and Angular 2 have really been big pushers of TypeScript. In fact, I think Angular 2 comes with TypeScript support by default. Ionic is this really cool framework that allows you to write native mobile applications using web technologies like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That allows you to, and you can develop your app using TypeScript. I haven't really used Ember or React so much, but from what I know from the people I've spoken to, Ember and React do come with TypeScript support. And Electron is a JavaScript library framework that allows you to write native applications using JavaScript and other web technologies. Again, you can use TypeScript to develop JavaScript applications. Now, the last part that's kind of interesting is you can actually write server-side or even native Node.js applications using TypeScript. There's actually a really cool tutorial on the Visual Studio Code website that tells you about how to write Node.js Express applications. So let's just talk tooling. A couple tools that I think support TypeScript really well are obviously Visual Studio and Code because they're made by Microsoft. Sublime and Atom support them fairly well. WebStorms, I haven't used it, but I think they're pretty good. Vim apparently supports TypeScript. You need a plugin for that. And Emacs, really? Who uses that, right? Sorry. So a little bit on getting started. All you do is install the TypeScript and TSD. TSD is a package manager for TypeScript definition files. Lastly, all you need to do is write your TypeScript program, pass into TSC, and it will output JavaScript. Questions? Wow. That was fast.
Yeah, wait. Can everyone come up here? Everyone who talked for a quick Q&A session? Yeah, Brandon, Walker, Nelson, yeah. No, I didn't say. Thank you, guys. Yeah, so we'll just pass the mic around. If you guys want to ask each other questions, you can do that as well. So, go ahead.
Did I read the Tachyons? Is that what it's called?
Tachyons.
Tachyons. What's the advantage of using
It's actually written in PostCSS. So if you're wanting to do a completely new project with, what's it called, using PostCSS, you can use that. It's actually one, AJ did a little wonderful talk on it saying basically it's really neat. It also has a nested like, or nesting just like, what's it called, SAS, and also, was it auto prefixing, was it called? Yes. It comes with it automatically if you use PostCSS. So if you're wanting to get into PostCSS, I would highly recommend that and Tachyons.
Follow-up question. What is PostCSS?
It's another, what's it called? Compiler, just like SAS and less. It's fairly recent as well. I believe it just came out just this year. Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah, just recently.
It's a post compiler.
Here.
Sorry, it's a post compiler instead of a pre-compiler. So instead of taking weird CSS-ish language and turning that into CSS, it takes CSS and adds things to it like, like auto prefixer, other plugins that can read things about the CSS you're trying to write and do more stuff with it.
Is it compatible with SAS or less? Or?
It's not completely compatible. You have to like get a post CSS SAS plugin to make the post CSS understand the SAS, turn that into CSS, and then post process that CSS.
More questions?
Any more questions? Coming once, coming twice? Okay. Awesome.
The guy that did the static app, I was a little confused on what you meant by that. Does that, when you say a static app, you mean like it's not communicating with a database?
Oh, okay. So the original app was a single page app. So it's just one page and it just changes the content that needs to change in that one div. So when I deployed it, it actually turned it into a multi-page website. So that's what I mean by that. It gets converted from a single page app into a multi-page website.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there actual multiple pages, or is it one address that simply reloads?
It gets turned into multiple pages on the Surge, I believe, and I think that's why you have to include the 200.html. You just have to give it that, and it uses that to render the dynamic content onto that 200.html page.
Any more questions? No? Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for coming.
Oh, I have a question for you.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Oh yeah. Okay, so the TypeScript, the example that you showed with the class, that could be done in ES6. So my question is, why would you use TypeScript versus ES6?
Good question. I think, the reason why I would probably use TypeScript is because it depends on the technology and the framework that I have to use. Again, I work with Angular JS, and we're moving to Angular 2 soon. So that's one of the and because most of the code has been written in TypeScript, that's why I would use it. I'm not sure about how ES6 does export statements. I know that with TypeScript, I was easily able to just export the that specific what's it called, class. As well, I think that TypeScript also has a very strict enforcement on types, so strings, numbers, objects, and interfaces that the programmer has to explicitly define. So, types. Hi.
Does TypeScript transpile it itself, or do you need Babel to get it to ES? What was it, ES3 that you showed?
So it actually uses the TSC compiler, which converts your TypeScript code into JavaScript, into ES3 code. Yep. Anybody else? All right. Nope.
So we still got some time to hang out. So you can ask some more questions.
Just put it back here. Just put it back.